They just turned theirs on.
Alderman Becker, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, will you start your video, because I think that's why we're not seeing you. We can hear you.
Barely.
I'm not quite sure how to do that.
Hold on one second.
It's one of the icons down at the bottom.
You see something that says video? No. Join as panel.
There's nothing that's questionable tonight that I know of, so.
All right.
All right.
All right. One of the requirements is that we,
Lost him.
well, we lost him.
No, when you hit speaker view. so
Oh,
when
okay,
he
I
talks,
got
he
it,
will
I got
pop
it,
up.
I
All
got it.
right. The requirement that we have is that we both must be able to hear and see for those coming in remotely. So that's kind of what we've been waiting for. All right, I think we're ready to begin. I would like to welcome those guests that are with us this evening, both here in chamber and online. I now call to order the November 4th, 2021 regular Board of Aldermen meeting. If you would, please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Before we have roll call, I'd like to thank Brenda for being here this evening to take on the duties of the city clerk. So Brenda, if we could get you to do roll call, please.
Alderman Rucker,
Here.
Alderman Becker,
Here.
Alderman Osteen,
Is that Morose?
No, Osteen.
Osteen.
Oh, Osteen.
Alderman Morose,
Here.
Alderman Ross,
Here.
Mayor Oliveri.
Here. All right, we do have a quorum, so we can continue on. This evening, as always, I have the opportunity to have mayor's communication, and this evening, I do have something that I would like to share with those here and on the board. At our last meeting, the board completed the Pruitt Point TIF project. I took the opportunity at that time to recognize Gary Pruitt for who was the developer and is still the developer of Pruitt Point. And I thanked him for his vision, determination, creativity, and willingness to incur the major risk a project like this demands. I believe, as I said then, that Pruitt's Point is Osage Beach's second most influencing economic development project. And quite frankly, that by itself warrants recognition for the significant impact it had on our community. In addition, the vision or the expansion of his existing businesses, like the Backwater Jacks Lakeside entertainment venue, and his company's growth through acquisitions and new businesses within Osage Beach, just further exemplifies the overall contributions Gary has made and will continue to make to our Osage Beach business community, and quite frankly, I believe the whole lake area. So with that, Gary, if you would please come forward, it's my pleasure to make the following presentation. I have a plaque that I would like to present to Gary, and this is heavy, so I hope I don't drop it on your foot, and on the reverse, you'll drop it on mine. It says, Gary Pruitt, in recognition of your ongoing commitment and outstanding contribution to the growth of the Osage Beach business community. Gary, thank you for everything that you've done and everything you continue to do for our city. Thank you very much. All right, the next item on our agenda is citizens' communication. This is time set aside on the agenda for citizens and visitors to address the mayor and board on any topic that is not a public hearing, and there are no public hearings on tonight's agenda. For those here in person, speakers will be restricted to 3 minutes unless otherwise permitted. Minutes may not be donated or transferred from one speaker to another. Visitors attending online will be in listen-only mode. Any questions or comments for the board and mayor may be sent to the city clerk at tberreth@osagebeach.org no later than 10 a.m. on the board meeting days, which are the first and third Thursdays of the month. Submitted questions and comments may be read during the citizens' communications section of the agenda. The Board of Aldermen will not take action on any item not listed on the agenda, nor will it respond to questions, although staff may be directed to respond at a later time. The Mayor and Board of Aldermen welcome and value input and feedback back from the public. Is there anyone here in person who would like to address the board? And if so, please step forward. Come right ahead. And you've already signed in, so we appreciate that.
Yes,
Okay. What's that?
Jen Pirtle?
That was last week, so.
It's our ongoing list.
Yeah.
All right, well, thank you very much. Some of you may know me, some of you don't. My name is Michael Harmison, and I may go over the 3 minutes. I don't know if I need to stop at 3 minutes, or you'll permit me to go.
We'll see.
More. All right.
Go right ahead.
All right. My name is Michael Harmison. I'm the owner of Harmison's Hometown Fundraising and also Harmy's Cheese Store and more, located right down the road, the west end of Osage Beach in Ward 2. I'm asking tonight, and based on what I heard you say, John, it doesn't sound like it can happen tonight, so instruct me how. But what I was asking, if an alderman tonight would make a motion and a second alderman would second the motion, it voted on to grant myself an 18-month temporary occupancy permit for my new 6,000 square foot building behind Harmy's Cheese Store. I'm asking for this permit to serve as occupancy for the storage of and shipping of fundraising and cheese store items, cold and frozen rental facility, as far as utilizing a 2,400 square foot of that section for an assembly of no more than 100 people. After living in Iowa for most of my life, I moved to Lake of the Ozarks and purchased this property in May of 2014. In May of 2015, I opened up what's called the Dead End, Harmy's Cheese Store and more. I've been in the fundraising business for 32 years. We operate nationwide, again, operating the same facility down on the West End in Ward 2. Pre-COVID, we had about 300 nonprofit organizations we work with nationwide. I've always rented facilities and finally had the opportunity to open my own building. So I invested $750,000 on this end of the strip of Osage Beach and continue helping nonprofit organizations, and the cheese store continues to just flourish. Not that you need to know, but my last name being Harmison, my nickname was Harmy in college. We work primarily with Future Farmers of America, and so if you know them at all, their colors are blue and yellow. So that's why the building is blue and yellow, and it's Harmy for my nickname. We become a destination for tourists. Our business has doubled pretty much every year. Through COVID, people came to the lake looking for something to do. And we have regulars that shop there on a daily basis. It was my hope in the beginning that both of these businesses would thrive and we could grow what's called the Dead End into another flourishing area. When I built that building, it was a two-phase program. The first building was the construction of the 6,000 square foot warehouse. It has an 854 square foot freezer in it. It has an 854 square foot cooler in it. Loading docks, men's restroom, ADA accessible stall, 2 urinals. It has 3 stalls, ADA accessible for women. And That is phase one, and the plan was to use that for fundraising. Since we work with so many schools through October through December, those coolers are filled with cheese and sausage, those freezers are filled with cookie dough. If anybody buys cookie dough from Camdenton Band, that's where it came from. We're working with them for years. Phase two of this program was going to be the Harmy's cheese store torn down and a new Harmy's connected to the building. It was designed that way intentionally. Current Harmy's is about a 1,000 square foot footprint. The new Harmy's, the initial plans are 2,400 square foot footprint, more than double. The plan is by Memorial Day of 2023 to have that happen. So with the existence of the new building, after we completed phase one, occupancy was denied because we did not have the parking area concreted or paved. Unfortunately, I was not aware of this code, and people ask me, how did you not know? And my answer has always been, I sell cheese. The builders should have done that. They did not. So I'm here today. I know that should have happened. So what I thought, and I talked to the contractors, knowing that phase two of this program was going to be a brand new cheese store, I didn't want to invest $25,000 more in concrete or pavement and then have to go in the next 18 months and tear it up with a new building. So I asked for a variance or an extension on that occupancy and just said, hey, can you give me 18 months? I cannot shut down Harmy's cheese store during the summer months to have somebody come in and dig it up and put in concrete or asphalt. We just need the money. The new building fundraising season starts, and we need the freezers and coolers. We need the crew to put school orders together. And it was my hope, knowing that we should have had the occupancy or the pavement put in, that we didn't, that I was hoping I could come to the city, and I talked to many city employees and a few elected officials and said, can you just work with me? We came down here on the dead end, and we opened up, and my plan was to make that flourish again. I think we've done that. And all I was saying is, can we just get 18 months? That gives me another year in business. Next winter, we can start working on bringing the building down during the slow months. And the plan is from the 2,400 square feet out of the new building, the new Harmy's, and from there out, it's going to be concreted or paved all the way to the front of Business 54. That'll allow for plenty of parking. That'll allow for us to solicit tour bus agencies to come in, and that was our plan. And I did go ahead, for those of you who have not seen it, I am going to show you a few pictures. I'll be happy to leave these. When we constructed this, we spent a lot of money to professionally grade and put in the right amount of rock, the right amount of construction to make it as well as concrete or pavement as we could, not knowing we're supposed to. You can see by this picture showing the Harmy's cheese store, we have 2 loading docks. We have a ramp. Anybody that is ADA assistance, they can literally drive in, open the door, people can get out, and they can drive in to pick them up to leave. So as far as a safety factor, we have the ability to get people that are handicap or need accessibility. I'll be happy to leave these for you, and I'll also invite any of you that want to see. The section picture will show you from the new facility facing out towards Business 54. This building coming down will literally have plenty of parking for the entire area all the way to the street. The next picture I'm going to show you, it'll show you the back of the building. We have plenty of parking out back, very well compacted gravel that you can walk on it. Vehicles can drive on it, and again, those in need can simply drive up the ramp and drop off. A circle drive, there's plenty of parking for what we're asking for the temporary hall. Next picture, this is actually just a closer picture if you have a question about what the ramp looks like. We've had people that have come in and out of there. We load and unload trucks. We can drive a full-size van in there, vans and trailers. So anybody that needs accessible for the handicap, we have plenty of places to do that. The last picture I'm going to show you, this is from the street. It'll show you straight back, the loading dock areas. Right now, semi can get to the first dock, straight track to the other. but once the building comes down and there's new concrete, we can have up to 2 trucks to semis at any time. Working with about 300 schools, we'll be using those quite a bit for those few months. But as you can see by the photos, the current parking, the circle drive, the ADA compliant is another reason why I think you should grant me an 18-month extension so that we can continue to flourish and continue to grow business down here in the west end of 54. The building was designed, it was built to use for fundraising through December. We do about 75% of our fundraising in the fall, working with schools. They're not in school in the summer. So from October through December, those freezers are filled with cheese, sausage, cookie dough, about 75% of our business. Anything that we do in the springtime is minimal. We can operate around the other intentions of the building. And the intentions of that building is for restaurants and bars. We've had a lot of interest right now, especially with the shortage of supplies. If I would have had that thing open a year ago, it'd be full of chicken wings to this day. But business have expressed an interest. They can buy pallets of chicken, pallets of fish, pallets of perishable during the off-season, store it there, save some money, and during the busy season, come get it as needed. There's nothing like it in the area, close to the area. I've already been contacted by a Budweiser distributor in Lebanon. He said, I heard about your cold storage. We're interested in leasing out your cold storage all summer so we don't have to keep going to Lebanon and back to buy beer, to bring beer. There is a demand for this. So again, what I'm asking tonight, and if it cannot be done, please tell me how to get it done. But what I'm asking is for an alderman to make a motion. I'm asking for a second alderman to make a second and have you vote tonight. And if you can't tonight, let me know when and how so that we can get an 18-month temporary occupancy permit. I did jump through everything I had to jump through. I did get the plans from Capital City. They are supposed to have, after 2 or 3 plans that I submitted, finally we came to an agreement and I signed off on asphalt to be installed at the tune of about $25,000. It's supposed to be done mid-November, and I'm still waiting to hear when they could even do it because they're so backlogged. But I was able to gain a temporary occupancy for the storage facility, and that expires the 19th of this month. So I'm asking for the next 18 months just to let us continue with this project. And lastly, I'll just say I absolutely love the Lake of the Ozarks. Beautiful Lake of the Ozarks, Osage Beach. I don't know, I will never live anywhere else. I'm involved in many local organizations. Myself and both of my companies have contributed financially to the city of Osage Beach and to local charities. I have several ideas and plans to help make the west end of Osage Beach great again, and I'm asking for your help tonight. Any questions for me?
Any questions?
Well,
I don't believe.
I guess I have one just from a clarity standpoint.
Sure.
I don't know that the board has any authority in variances. We have a variance board, but I'm not even sure who has authority here.
Well, the fact is this, that, you know, what Mr. Harmison is requesting this evening cannot happen. Okay?
Tonight, of course.
Tonight,
I understand
of course. So if, you know, there's a member of the board who would like to pursue this at the next board meeting, you know, we can certainly get together with the city planner and the building official. As Mr. Harmison has said, several of us have had the opportunity, as well as staff, to, you know, to meet with him and to explain our ordinances and make some concession to those ordinances, which I think that's part of what Mr. Harmison was referring to. So at this point, we could have Mr. Harmison get in touch with the city administrator and see what we can do as it relates, you know, to moving any request forward. And at which time, I think that would include, you know, what position the board, you know, can or cannot take, you know, as it relates to this specific request. Okay.
One other question. Did I hear you say that you have this under contract right now with Capital Paving?
Yes.
And what, is there a completion date on that contract?
They know that I have my temporary expires the 19th.
Okay.
And when I signed this, they said, we think we can get it done, but they're just extremely backlogged.
I mean, I understand that weather could be a factor. Well, let's assume weather isn't a factor. Is there any reason why you're not requesting a 30-day extension on the permit versus till however many months it is, till May?
I asked for a temporary occupancy, and that's the date that I didn't come up with.
Okay. That's all I have.
I guess, I build on your question, why are you asking for an 18-month extension as opposed to a 30-day extension, if there's a need for a 30-day extension? I guess that was your question, Richard?
Yes, I wasn't quite sure.
And I'm not sure we got an answer to
So
that.
the 18 months was so that I can complete Phase 2 and not have to rip up the $25,000 investment of paving now.
He doesn't want to put the $25,000 asphalt down this month, is what I understand. He wants to leave the whole thing gravel this month and for the next 18 months, and not put the $25,000 asphalt down that's supposed to be done. So, and he wants to wait for 18 months and then do it all. And my only comment is, Mayor, I would like to have him come to staff and exhaust all those procedures that are supposed to be done through staff, and then I believe there's a procedure there. If he still wants a variance, or if he wants to be something done, isn't there a procedure that we have a Board of Adjustments, or we have, variance? I mean, there's some other things that are before us.
That's not,
what the Board of Zoning Adjustment provides variance.
Okay, if they're not, I don't want to get into that, but
Right.
if they're not, then
no, and that's why
staff needs to tell us how we.
That's why I asked Mr. Harmonson to get in touch with the city
What procedure is for us
administrator
to handle it?
and let them, go through those different phases, and then let staff make a recommendation to the board. Mr. Harmonson, you did make a comment about not knowing that parking was part of the requirements for that building. And I do believe that in more than one case, you were notified both from a planning standpoint and from a construction standpoint that parking was a requirement, for an occupancy permit for that building. So, again, that can all be worked out and clarified with your discussions with the city administrator, and we'll leave it up to staff then to make a recommendation to the board as far as moving this request forward.
I
Okay?
appreciate it, and I'll just leave I have met with the city administrator, and it was my understanding that this was my next thing to try, since everything else has failed, was to present to the board and ask them, unless I'm wrong, I was asked to come to the board and present exactly what I did tonight.
The information that I gave Mr. Harmison when we met, not getting into a whole lot of details, because I don't know the weeds of it, but my comment to him and any citizen is staff does not have the authority to go against any ordinance. Only the Board of Aldermen can vote as a whole to make exceptions on any ordinance, whether we're talking about a park fee, whether we're talking about permit. So my understanding from him is he very well could have already exhausted everything at the staff level, but staff does not have the authority to go against. Just like when we bring a road construction to you, if it doesn't meet design and ordinance precisely, this body is the only one that can give me or other members of staff a variance. That's not the right word, but to an exception to any written black and white ordinance. So that's what he's talking
And the
about.
city administrator is correct with that statement. However, I think that it would be only fair for the city administrator to get the appropriate staff members together to take a look at this and any other request that is relative to this particular piece of property at this point, and then make a recommendation to the board. And if that recommendation includes the board making a decision, or whether we, what our options are, so we'll know how to proceed.
Exactly.
Okay?
Can you tell me what I should do next, please?
Yes, I would like for you to get together with the city administrator
we'll set up a
to
meeting.
get, in detail from you exactly what you're requesting from the city. Then it will be up to the city administrator's responsibility to get with the appropriate staff, and then for her to put together a recommendation to the board, which may include a complete report, from both the city planner and from the building official, on this particular request of yours. And then if that is appropriate as it relates to a motion from the board to make any kind of options as they might relate to the ordinance for your particular situation, then that will be presented to the board at that time, and we will have an opportunity to vote on that.
All right, thank you
Okay.
for your time.
You bet. Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to present to the board this evening? All right, seeing that there is none, we move on. Our first item of business is the approval of the consent agenda. If the board desires, the consent agenda may be approved by a single motion. Tonight's agenda consists of the minutes of the October 21st, 2021 Board of Aldermen meeting, the minutes of the October 25th, 2021 Special Budget Workshop meeting, and the November 4th, 2021 bills list. Are there any questions, comments, or proposed revisions? Yes, Alderman Rucker.
Yes, I apologize. I didn't realize Tara was out because I called and there's a message on her phone. I found something, and I'm late reading my minutes, but I found something in the minutes that I don't think are correct. It's on page 7. It basically talks about, and unfortunately, Public Works Operations Manager's not here, but he had it says that Chad Carlson has turned in his resignation. His last day will be November 4th, 2021. The minutes say he has agreed to stay on for 3 days to help train the new employee. What I believe he said is we will have 3 days that we will have full employment. That there's going to be 3 days that we are not going to have a vacancy, because we've always had a vacancy in Public Works. So like I said, I believe that needs to be corrected.
I made a note of it.
You have any comments, Mike? We don't have we do not have a replacement for him at this point. Is that correct?
That's correct. The only comment I was going to make is that Kevin already caught this as well, and he had emailed Tara earlier in the week. But because Tara has kind of been in and out, I'm not sure if she actually saw that email yet. So Kevin.
So we're all on the same
Kevin
page.
Crook
There
saw the
needs to be
same
some
thing you
correction
did,
there.
and he agrees with what you said based on my conversations with him. So I think that'll probably be corrected at a future board.
Okay, that's all.
Okay.
I should have pursued when Tara didn't call me back, but I just got busy doing things.
We'll just make the correction to the minutes, will we not? Yeah, okay. Is there any other questions or comments? As it relates to this particular issue, with the board's consent, we will have the city clerk confirm what changes are appropriate and make those changes to the minutes. Are there any questions on that, or is there anyone that is not in agreement with that? All right, seeing none, that's fine. Is there a motion to approve then the consent agenda with the proposed changes that will be made? All in favor?
Aye.
Wait,
First, let's
Motion to
Motion to
approve.
approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right. We have a first and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, the consent agenda is approved.
Delayed. He's like,
Yeah. We got you, Tyler. Thank you very much. All right. We move on now to unfinished business. Our first item of unfinished business this evening is requesting a second reading by title only of ordinance number 2173, an ordinance of the City of Osage Beach, Missouri, amending the Osage Beach Code of Ordinances by repealing and replacing Chapter 105, Elections, Section 105-030, Declaration of Candidacy, date of filing Item A. The first reading for all unfinished items was approved at the October 21st regular meeting. Since the city clerk is not here, city administrator, any additional comments? Or
no
city
additional
attorney?
comments on my end.
City attorney?
I thought Gina, whatever. No additional comments. This is required by the new change in Missouri State statute. I think Tara explained it at the last meeting, and the law hasn't changed, and we still need to do it.
All right. Any questions from the board? With none, is there a motion to approve second reading?
So moved.
Alderman Morose, do I have a second?
second.
Alderman Ross, roll call, please.
Alderman Rucker,
Yes.
Alderman Becker,
Yes.
Alderman Osteen, Alderman Morose,
Yes.
Alderman Ross.
Yes.
All right. Second reading is approved. We move on to our final item of unfinished business, which is requesting a second reading by title only of ordinance number 2074, an ordinance authorizing, establishing, and providing for the election procedures to be followed for the general municipal election to be held April 5th, 2022 in the city of Osage Beach, Missouri. Any comments from City Attorney?
Yeah, this one comes to me. Our city administrator found today, so I get to tell this because I get to brag on her, found 2 small typos in this. In section 1 on page 41 of your agenda, the municipal election will be held the 5th day of April 2022, not 2021. And in section 2, the dates for offices, filing for office will commence December 7, 2021, not 2020. With those 2 corrections as Scrivener's errors, there's nothing else changed in this ordinance, and it stands ready for your final approval.
Okay. Are there any questions from the board? With none, is there a motion to approve the second reading with the recommended changes? Alderman Ross, do I have a second?
Second.
Alderman Morose, roll call, please.
Alderman Becker?
Yes.
Alderman Rucker?
Yes.
Alderman Osteen? Alderman Ross?
Yes.
Alderman Morose?
Yes.
All right, we do have approval for the second reading. We now move on to new business. Our first and only item of new business tonight, request a first reading of Bill Number 2176, an ordinance of the City of Osage Beach, Missouri, authorizing the mayor to sign a contract with Meyer Electric for improvements at multiple lift stations for an amount not to exceed $68,246. Assistant City Administrator.
Thank you, Mayor and members of the board. The purchase of the parts and pieces needed for this project were approved for purchase on the 8/19/2021 board meeting. The attached contract is for the installation of this equipment. The city did receive 3 bids for this work. The bid tab and the winning bid for bid form are attached. Meyer Electric was the low bid at $68,246. The city has worked closely with Meyer Electric for a few years now. They are our current streetlight and signal repair contractor. We have a good working relationship, and we see no problem with them doing this work. Just to review, there are 3 stations that we are doing upgrades here. 2, most of it is electrical in nature. The stations are the one on the corner of Huff and Puff, the one located at the Ledges condos, and then a third one that is located at Indian Point condos. Unfortunately, even though we had worked hard to try and order these parts ahead of time, we're still waiting on them, and I don't anticipate that we will receive them in time for this work to be done in the 2021 calendar year. That said, even if we have to carry it over, we will begin work on this in January, and I do recommend approval, and I'm here to answer any questions you may have.
All right, thank you. Are there any questions from the board?
Even though the stuff may not come in, you don't know when it's going to come in, and you got to be ready to go. So I think we need to get this approved so you're ready to go at any moments.
All right. Any other questions or comments? With none, is there a motion to approve first reading?
Motion to approve.
Alderman Rucker, do I have a second? Alderman Morose, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, first reading passes. All right, we move on now to communications. We start with communications from members of the board. Alderman Ross, please.
I have very little, Mayor. Just say, wish everybody a happy Veterans Day and the holiday weekend for staff that gets that, and as well to thank I guess maybe we'll have a meeting before Thanksgiving holiday, so we still have one more. Okay, so happy Veterans Day, everybody. Enjoy your holiday.
Yeah, and speaking of Veterans Day, we've got the big parade this weekend, so please come out and enjoy it. It's always a fun thing to do, and it always ends up at the Elks, and the Elks always do a great job of welcoming everyone and providing a little something to eat before they go home. And the kids can counter some of that candy that they ate that gets thrown along the route. All right, Alderman Morose.
Just saluting to the veterans and And just echoing what Alderman Ross said, it's that time of the year, and I wish we could salute them more than even once in making a proclamation. I think the Parkway looks great, that they always put the little flags out. I think our City Hall looks great, and it's just that time of year before the holidays that we just step back and salute them. Thank you.
All right. Alderman Becker.
I have nothing, thank you.
All right. Alderman Rucker.
Yes, sir. I have a couple items. One, just wanted to express thanks to the city for the opportunity for the MML, even though it's been a while back since I went, but the reason I bring it up now is because I've had the opportunity to meet with staff on some of the individual breakout sessions that I had. I met with Carrie and Ron today to finalize the stuff I had open, and that was dealing with electric car chargers, or the charging stations. I believe electric cars are a thing of the future. There's a lot of things that we can make sure we can do to be friendly, and I know there's a lot of things that some of the cities don't have in place, but we have many things in place at this point. There's a couple of things that staff is checking on to make sure we're in good shape on. Fortunately, our planner at this stage is friendly to the situation of how we count the parking spots. Some city planners are not, and they won't allow the parking spots for the cars that are being charged to be counted towards their parking spots that are required. Fortunately, our planner's interpretation is that as long as there's not a sign there that restricts other people from not parking there, then that can be counted as a parking spot that is required, but that's not the interpretation. So I delved into that, knowing that some cities have a little bit different, and was very pleased with that, so that I do feel that our city is friendly to that, that bit of technology coming down the road. Enjoyed a meeting in reference to TIF, and I've asked our attorney to do some digging on some of the new TIF legislation, which is supposed to have some different interpretations that we may or may not find to be difficult in the future for TIFs, and he's doing that research and waiting to get back there if we may have to change any of our stuff, and was fortunate enough to be able to be in attendance at some of the other workshops that just opened my eyes to things. So the MML conference is a very worthwhile time, besides the enjoyment of bending elbows with some of the staff and my other fellow aldermen and women. And so I just want to thank the city again for that MML conference attendance. Other than that, that's all I have.
All right, thank you. We move on to staff. City Administrator.
Yes, Mayor, members of the board. First, Kevin, on your electric car chargers, and I guess I'll get with Ron and Carrie, but Ameren actually has funding resources for both businesses and municipalities. If you have a developer that's wanting to incorporate that kind of development in like a condo project or a restaurant, whatever, Ameren has funding because they want them to be open resource, unlike one of our local grocery stores. One is just for a certain type of car, where the other one they actually built in partnership with Ameren's dollar resource, grant resource, that it's open to any that's interchangeable. Anyway, as far as municipalities too, should we own big parking lots or want areas? So I'll pass that information on to them too. The only update I was going to give is, remember, next Thursday and Friday, City Hall facilities are closed to the public Thursday and Friday. And then we have a long work week, and then we have another Thursday and Friday holiday. So this month, staff loves this month because we get a few holidays. But knowing that some of our deadlines with our packets have been moved up a little bit, so keep that in mind. Should something on your guys' end come up for agenda items, our deadlines are a little tighter and a little earlier than normal because of Veterans Day, Thanksgiving, and then we follow Christmas and New Year's. So that's my only update.
All right, thank you. City Attorney.
Nothing tonight, Mayor.
Brenda, would you like to say anything representing Senate Clerk? Thank you again very much for taking on that responsibility tonight. Chief, I think you've got some things to share with us this evening.
I do. I have a couple of commendations to give to two officers, if Corporal McQuarrie and Officer Austin would come up. I'm just gonna read one of them, because they're both from the same call, so it's not gonna duplicate it. But
Mike, excuse me, could we get a microphone for him, for the chief?
If you will move over.
Move a little bit
so
forward so the
online-
cameras can pick you up.
guys,
Thank you.
we'll do this. On the evening of September 17, 2021, Officer Leon Austin and Corporal Bobby McQuarrie responded to 1280 Young Lane in reference to a 79-year-old male that was unconscious and not responsive. Upon your arrival, a subject on scene had already initiated CPR on the victim. While Corporal McQuarrie checked the subject for a pulse with negative results, Officer Austin attached the victim to the department-issued AED and activated it so it could assess the victim. The AED advised that a shock was needed, and Officer Austin activated the AED to deliver the shock. Corporal McQuarrie again checked for a pulse. This time the victim had one. Officer Austin continued rescue breathing for the victim while Corporal McQuarrie guided responding fire department ambulance personnel to the scene. The victim was transported to Lake Regional Health Systems where he was treated for a heart attack. The victim was conscious, alert, and talking to a family member just hours after the incident. Your initiative, presence of mind, teamwork, and sound professional competence in the handling of this emergency helped save a victim's life. You're both commended for your actions in this stressful situation. I personally extend my sincere gratitude and congratulations for a job well done. Congratulations, guys. We did order award bars, but they're about 6 to 8 weeks out. I guess they're stuck on the container ships out in the Gulf somewhere. I don't know. But good job, guys.
It's gonna be the world to come.
Well, that was real advanced planning if you ordered them that far in advance and they're still stuck, so. Gentlemen, congratulations. Thank you very much. Here's a prime example of, the quality of employees that we have, not only in our police department, which we do, and they are great. They're probably put in a position where they have to address this more than others, but, just the fine staff that we have here at the city. And thank you, gentlemen, very much. We appreciate it. And for the other officers who are attending this evening, thank you for taking the time to be with us. All right? All right, Chief, anything else?
Just be aware that the Veterans Day Parade is this weekend, and from approximately 1 o'clock to probably 2:15, the parkway will be shut down for the parade. It will be opened up as the parade progresses past.
Okay. All right, thank you. All right, City Planner.
Yeah, I would just recommend that everybody who can come out to the Veterans Day Parade, come out. I mean, it's one of those that's, walkable from my home, and my kids love it, and it's something that, quite candidly, is very special. And if you do come, bring your kids and your grandkids, and everybody be from Malibu to the City Hall so they get some of the candy, and my kids don't get all of it. Because I swear every year it's like a 5-gallon bucket going home, and these veterans and folks want to throw some candy to some kids. So come out, it's a really neat gathering. So that's all I have.
All right, thank you. Assistant City Administrator.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to express my gratitude to the mayor, the board, and our city administrator, Gina. This year's budget workshops, I feel like I've been involved with them now for 6 or 7 years, and I feel like this is the smoothest year that we've had. There's a lot of planning that goes into this. I think sometimes that goes unrecognized, so I just want to express my gratitude publicly for the board, the mayor, Gina. And then furthermore, the changes that were made on the personnel side have, at least from what I've heard, have been quite a morale boost for many employees. So thank you so much for listening, for working with us, and for providing these changes for us. It's really been great. Thank you so much.
All right, thanks. Airport.
Nothing, sir.
Building official.
I have nothing.
IT.
Nothing, sir.
All right, well, our business for this evening is complete, and we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone, for attending. Have a great evening.
it's gonna be shorter than that.
Thank you, Tyler.
Thank you, Tyler.
Thank you. Have a good weekend.
You too.